Welcome to Epic Geek Out, the only show on the internet that goes back to school to become scarers ourselves. I'm your host, Rob.
And I'm your host, Chad, and today we are going to be talking about Monsters University, the brand new Pixar film.
And then on Thursday, we're going to be giving our review of the PlayStation 3 title, The Last of Us.
As always, you can check us out over at Twitter, at Epic Geek Out. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Epic Geek Out. And also check out the website, www.epicgeekout.com. But let's get into our review of Monsters University. So Monsters University is this summer's Disney Pixar release, and it is the prequel to Monsters University.
Monsters Inc.
Oh,
yes.
That's what I meant to say. So, returning cast, John Goodman, Billy Crystal, and now we have the characters from the first movie meeting up when in college. And, they set it up where the two characters are very different, and it's kind of the story of how they became friends, tackled, some different obstacles together, and became the friends that we knew, and that we met in Monsters Incorporated. Chad, what did you think of the movie?
Well, I think it's worth saying that at first, Monsters Inc. isn't my favorite Pixar film.
I'd agree with that.
I like the sort of premise of it, but what I think I like the most about that movie is the girl, the little child in it, the human child that they kind of become friends with over the course of the movie, and that's obviously not here because they meet her in that movie.
Being a prequel.
Yeah, so it missed that portion of it. I think it overall for me was pretty mediocre. Even taking out the fact that it's not my favorite Pixar property, I think in general the story was pretty paint by numbers and generic. There was nothing that stood out as an overly awesome Pixar storytelling for me. I think just in general it's a story we've seen 1,000 times before. You know where it's going. I mean, that's to their detriment. Unfortunately, you do know that they eventually become scarers because we saw it already. So the whole crux of this movie is that they're trying to become scarers, and you don't know. They're assuming that that arc is unpredictable to you, even though it's very predictable because we know that they become the scarers. So. Everything's pretty much you see coming from a mile away. I mean, they're jerks, and now they're going to become friends, and it just there wasn't really anything there that I could really grasp onto, and the characters are great, yes, but there wasn't anything overly funny either.
Sure.
There's no real funny moments that kind of earned that humor that the first one had for me.
I will say too that. There were some funny moments, but they were just kind of oh, this guy's being a little ridiculous. There weren't any well-written jokes that really stood out for me.
Yeah, and also the original film was so cool because there was a lot of really creative uses of how the monster world works. And a lot of the stuff in this was stuff from that movie again. So it wasn't anything really overly creative and new. The way the doors work and all that stuff was cool, but we saw that already. And all the stuff that kind of had to do with the college-y part of it, there was only a handful that I thought, stuck out as really creative uses of being in the monster world. So, it kind of missed a lot of those points for me. I still think, it's going to be a successful movie. It's Pixar, but I actually think that Despicable Me will be a better family movie this summer, so because that just has, I think, more heart behind it than this I felt had. Because even though it's characters we love, I didn't feel that kind of heart, I guess. But I don't know. Maybe you'll disagree. But
I mean, I think if you're fans of the first movie, you're gonna go see this and you're gonna like it. I mean, this movie didn't do anything wrong. It just didn't do things well enough. The characters were fine. Again, this computer animation and it is incredible across the board. I think it really hit the nail on the head when it came to the college feel. When they go in there and the RAs are introducing themselves and they're all these not preppy, but peppy people, and then the semesters kind of change and it's winter, and it kind of there were parts that I thought were witty and well done, just relating it to the college experience. I thought that was interesting, and it kind of makes sense because now that audience who saw Monsters Inc. growing up are kind of in that college age now. So I do understand why they did the prequel part, but it just didn't have the heart that I was expecting it to throughout the film. Again, this wasn't a bad movie by any means, but I just expected a little more heart behind it. I think the characters maybe fought for too long, and there was more conflict between them, and not enough time of them being friends.
And it didn't earn that moment where I don't think as well as it could have.
I think it earned the moment once, but then something happened that made them go against each other again, and then it was quick. Everything was okay again. So I think it would have been better if we saw them more as friends. I thought that, right in the beginning, it was going to be them interacting, and it kind of wasn't, and I thought that was well done. It was kind of cool to see the different jobs that you would learn at the university. Everyone wanted to be scarers, but then, there was other jobs of working on the doors, like creating the doors, working on the capsules, things like that. Some of the new people that were introduced I thought were good. I think Nathan Fillion did a good job as the jock guy who, kind of the enemy of them in the movie. But yeah, I mean, overall it's a very plain outing for Pixar just because of, what they've given us in the past. Mm-hmm. But, it's certainly not one that you're going to feel like after you walk out that you're going to be mad that you saw it. So
personally, I actually like Cars 2 better than this.
Did you?
In terms of being a sequel. I mean, this wasn't a sequel, but,
the second entering
of a film. So interesting. What did you think about the short?
The short before this, I don't know the exact name, but it was Umbrellas or the Blue Umbrella. Yeah. I thought the short had some of the best animation I've seen, and so utterly realistic. It was incredible.
To me, it looked almost like video game cutscene animation a little bit.
It had moments. Yeah. I mean, the people, you didn't see really faces and stuff.
It sounds bad, but it seemed very realistic looking.
Crazy realistic. It just seemed like a knockoff of Paperman, which we got before Toy Story 3.
Yeah, very similar.
Very, very similar of, something meets someone, they kind of love at first sight, and they're trying to get to them.
Yeah.
And then the environment is working against them and things like that. So it's very similar to that, I thought, which I thought was strange that they did something so similar, but I mean, they're just incredible. They're nice little vignettes to show the true power behind Pixar.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so check it out if you're in the mood for a family movie. I think for me, I would just say, Despicable Me is coming out real soon, in a couple weeks, so I would wait for that if you're only going to see one, but if you're going to see, both anyway, then definitely see it. I mean, if you like the first one, you're going to probably want to see this at some point. If it's not in the theater, then, when it comes out on video, just because it is cool to see those characters again. It has been so long since the original, so there's been a wide time range, so it's nice to see them again. But that's Monsters University.
So it's that time of the episode where we like to give our thanks. Chad, what are you thankful for today?
Well, I got a chance to see a trailer for a film that I wasn't really excited for, but after seeing the trailer, I'm actually pleasantly optimistic. Jobs, which is the Steve Jobs film. Biopic sort of, starring Ashton Kutcher. There's another one in development by Aaron Sorkin, which I'm way more excited for that one, just because the prospect of having such a well-written Sorkin film about Steve Jobs and Apple I think is really cool. But this one, is kind of an indie outing. I mean, he does look a lot like Steve Jobs, but beyond that, I was kind of like, I don't really, it's going to not be that great, because it is Ashton Kutcher after all. But the trailer made it actually look a lot better than I thought it could. So that's not saying that the film's going to be great, because who knows, the reviews have kind of been mediocre at this point. But it's coming out in August, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see what it is. Yeah,
you're a fan. And I would like to thank just the idea of live comedy today. This week we're actually going to two different live stand-up shows. The first of which is Doug Benson's Doug Loves Movies, which is a podcast he does. He's filming an episode of that at Helium Comedy Club. And then Chris Hardwick is going to be in town at Helium as well, Helium Philadelphia, the weekend after. So we're going to go see two shows. I'm really excited. I haven't seen a comedy show in that sort of venue, so I'm really excited for those. So I'm looking forward to that.
And that kind of geek setup humor, we've seen other comedy stuff, but I think it's cool to see that.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
So we're going to be back on Thursday. We're going to talk about Last of Us, which is a pretty epic new game from PlayStation. So make sure you check back for that. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.